The movie begins with Emily, a hardworking seamstress from a family-run business in Philadelphia, USA. She has been in a 2-year-long relationship with Leo, a European man who works as a bartender. Emily is oblivious to Leo's true identity, as he is actually a prince and heir to the throne of a small kingdom called Cordinia. One night, while on a dinner date, Leo drops the bombshell on Emily, revealing his royal heritage. Initially, she is skeptical but becomes convinced after Leo shows her a photograph of himself in regal attire. At that moment, she is surprised again when he invites her to accompany him to Cordinia for Christmas vacation. Overjoyed by the prospect of an adventure in a foreign land, she agrees without hesitation. Soon after, Leo excitedly shared the news with his mother, Queen Isidora, that he was bringing his girlfriend, Emily, home with him. However, her response was less than enthusiastic. She was concerned about Emily's background as an American and her lack of aristocratic heritage. The following day, Emily bid farewell to her father and best friend, Tony, who also worked as a tailor for her family business. Her father was proud to have a prince-to-be son-in-law and even asked Leo for permission to display his picture in the shop. Hearing that, Leo kindly obliged, and after the photo opus, Emily and Leo set off for Cordinia. Upon their arrival at the palace, they were greeted by Victor, the friendly and warm-hearted butler. But Emily's warm welcome didn't last long when she met Isidora, who was noticeably cold towards her. Isidora didn't even shake Emily's outstretched hand, leaving her feeling awkward. Although she tried to understand Isidora's behavior, she couldn't help but feel nervous about their first meeting. In an attempt to win over Isidora, Emily presented her with the snow crystal ball souvenir. Isidora accepted the gift with a smile, but soon had Victor take Emily to her room so she could speak privately with Leo. At that time, Isidora was furious that Leo had brought a commoner into the palace, and even more angry that he had kept their 2-year-long relationship a secret. She couldn't fathom having someone like Emily as her daughter-in-law. Despite Isidora's objections, Leo was determined to continue his relationship with Emily, and asked her to stay at the palace for the Christmas holidays. Then she set out to make Emily feel unwelcome in the palace. Her first attempt was at dinner, where she ordered the servants to serve dishes she assumed Emily wouldn't like. But to her surprise, Emily enjoyed the traditional Cordinian cuisine. After dinner, Leo apologized to Emily for his mother's behavior towards her. To lift her spirits, he showed her his favorite room in the palace, the weapons room, and even taught her some fencing techniques. Later that night, Emily found herself feeling hungry and went in search of the kitchen. But she quickly became lost in the sprawling palace and stumbled upon the weapons room instead. As she playfully swung a sword, Isidora suddenly appeared behind her looking disapproving. At that time, Emily was startled, but Isidora simply scolded her and left without another word. The following morning, Emily received a call from Tony, who was curious about her situation in Cordinia. She admitted to feeling uncomfortable with Isidora's treatment of her, but Tony advised her to tough it out and stay in Cordinia for the duration of her trip. There was no way she could return to the US after just one day in the palace. As they were chatting, a maid named Olivia interrupted their conversation to clean up the bedroom. Shortly after, Emily and Olivia began to tidy up the room together and struck up a conversation. At that moment, Emily found that she was more at ease talking to the maid than to Isidora. One day, Emily and Leo ventured into town to buy a Christmas tree, with 2 stone-faced bodyguards in tow. Leo tried to go incognito with a hat and sunglasses, hoping to avoid drawing attention to himself as a prince. However, their plan failed as a little girl selling Christmas trees recognized Leo almost immediately. Soon, word of the prince's presence spread, and the crowd swelled as curious onlookers clamored for a glimpse of the royal. Upon their return to the palace, Leo and Emily encounter Natasha, Leo's former flame and childhood friend. She is the woman Isidora had hoped to see wed to Leo, not Emily, and it's clear that Natasha still harbors feelings for him. In front of Emily, Natasha embraces Leo tenderly and carries on a conversation that leaves Emily feeling uncomfortable. To escape the awkward situation, Emily retreats to her room and begins to prepare a dress she designed for the upcoming Christmas Eve celebration. Olivia, the maid, comes in and offers to help, admiring her skills as a tailor. Later that evening, Emily attends a dinner party Isidora has arranged with a group of nobles, including the Baron and Baroness of Newbury. Unfortunately, the night quickly turns into a nightmare for Emily. At that time, Isidora seats Leo next to Natasha, leaving Emily at the head of the table. To make matters worse, Isidora publicly humiliates Emily by revealing her profession as a mere tailor in front of the esteemed guests. The day after the humiliating dinner, Leo attempts to lift Emily's spirits by bringing her breakfast in bed. Meanwhile, Isidora instructs Natasha to continue her pursuit of Leo's heart, going so far as to plan a horseback riding excursion for the 3 of them. Unfortunately, Emily is unable to ride horses, leaving her stuck at the palace with nothing to do. Seeking refuge in the kitchen, she joins the maids and butlers in trimming the Christmas tree. Unexpectedly, the Baroness of Newbury, Galena, arrives and strikes up a conversation with Emily. Galena reveals that, like Emily, she was not born into nobility and faced opposition when she began dating the Baron, her now husband. But over time, the nobles accepted their relationship. Drawing from her own experience, she encourages Emily to let go of the previous night's embarrassment and holds hope that Isadora will eventually accept her as family. After their heart-to-heart, Galena takes Emily on a shopping trip in town where they stumble upon Poppy, a young orphan selling Christmas trees and ornaments to raise money for her orphanage. At that time, Galena is moved by Poppy's story and both she and Emily lend a hand to help her sell her merchandise. Meanwhile, Leo and Isadora complete their duties as royals, waving to their subjects from their car. As they pass by Poppy's stall, she seizes the opportunity to present Isadora with a Christmas scarf, moving her to genuine warmth and a rare sincere smile, a momentous change for her character. When Emily returned to the palace, Isadora informed her of the upcoming Christmas ball and requested that she wears her youth dress to the party. Although she had created her own dress, she accepted Isadora's request to avoid causing offense. She also recognized the importance of familiarizing herself with the party etiquette of the nobility and mastering proper dance techniques. To prepare herself, Emily sought the help of Victor, who taught her the necessary skills. While Emily was busy with her training, Leo and Isadora carried out their duties as the Prince and Queen of Cordinia, including the opening of a new hospital and attending church. In the meantime, Leo confided in Victor about his plan to propose to Emily at the Christmas ball and showed him the stunning ring he had prepared for her. Victor was impressed by the ring and pledged his support for Leo's proposal. As the night of the ball approached, Emily eagerly anticipated the chance to make a lasting impression. When the big day finally arrived, she stole the show in Isadora's stunning dress and wowed the assembled nobles with her newfound grace, thanks to Victor's diligent training. Her beaming smile was a testament to her enjoyment of the event. The joy didn't stop there, as Galena and her husband arrived with Poppy. They shared the exciting news that they planned to make Poppy a permanent part of their family, filling Emily with warmth and happiness. However, her evening took a turn when Natasha swept Leo away from her on the dance floor. Emily's disappointment was palpable, so she retreated to the kitchen to clear her mind. At that time, she found solace in conversation with the staff, sharing her culinary expertise by teaching them how to prepare delicious American dishes. As the festivities continued, Isadora began to grow increasingly agitated at Emily's absence. Finally, she discovered Emily in the kitchen, deep in conversation with the servants. Seeing that, her anger boiled over, and she immediately fired the staff members who had dared to speak with Emily. As if that weren't enough, upon returning to the ballroom, Emily witnessed Leo and Natasha enjoying each other's company, which only served to reinforce her feelings of inadequacy as a non-royal. At that moment, Emily's self-doubt became too much to bear, and she decided to cut her losses and return to the United States. As she packed her bags, Leo appeared, having searched for her everywhere. Kneeling before her, he produced a ring and proposed marriage, hoping to convince her to stay. Despite her love for him, Emily knew that accepting his proposal would mean sacrificing her own dreams and aspirations. She bravely declined, leaving Leo heartbroken but understanding of her decision. Little did they know, Isadora was lurking outside the door, silently listening to their conversation. Overwhelmed with guilt for her mistreatment of Emily, Isadora couldn't bring herself to stop her departure the next day, instead opting to watch her go from afar. With Emily gone, tension hung heavy in the air between Isadora and Leo. He lashed out at her, sarcastically congratulating her for driving Emily away and ruining their relationship. Only after Victor intervened did Isadora come to realize the full extent of Leo's heartbreak and the toll that her actions had taken on their relationship. Shortly after, Isadora finally summoned the courage to confide in Leo, revealing a long-held secret from her past. Before marrying Leo's father, she had been in love with a commoner, but societal pressure had forced them apart. As fate would have it, Isadora eventually became queen, while her ex-boyfriend was relegated to a life of servitude. Despite her enduring love for him, she had buried her feelings and never acted upon them. In light of her own struggles with societal expectations, Isadora realized that she had no right to stand in the way of Leo and Emily's love. If he truly loved Emily, Isadora was willing to give her blessing to their union. Hearing that, Leo was overjoyed and embraced Isadora gratefully. Urging Victor to make arrangements for their departure, she decided to leave for the United States with Leo as soon as possible. It was then that Isadora revealed a surprising twist. The man she had loved all along was none other than Victor. After returning home, Emily recounted the tumultuous events to her father, who was outraged and ready to toss Leo's photo aside. She pleaded with him to leave the photo up, as it still held meaning for her. Just then, Leo appeared at their doorstep, apologizing for everything that had occurred. He then went down on one knee and asked Emily to marry him once again. Despite her joy, Emily was still apprehensive about Isadora's reaction to their engagement. However, her fears were put to rest when Isadora arrived and gave her blessing to the couple. Overjoyed, Emily accepted Leo's proposal, and they proceeded to have their dream wedding in the royal church with their loved ones in attendance. The ceremony was made all the more special by the presence of Poppy, who was now officially adopted by Galena. The moral that can be learned from this movie is that love knows no social boundaries or class distinctions. Emily and Leo's love for each other transcends their differences in social status, and ultimately, their love triumphs in the face of adversity. Besides that, it also teaches us about the importance of forgiveness and understanding. Isadora learns to put aside her own hurt feelings and past experiences in order to support her son and his love interest. Similarly, Leo and Emily are able to forgive and move past the obstacles that threaten their relationship, ultimately leading to a happy ending.